We interrupt this broadcast of the Mars Cricketer Halloween special with a musical interlude with the world premiere of Ask the Mask.
I was working in the office late one night when my ears heard a familiar sound. It was Woodsy and K-Dog, the very large hound. From the pen to paper began to rise, and suddenly, to my surprise, I did the hashtag. Ask the mask, oh ask the mask. It was a cricketing smash, ask the mask. It caught on in a flash, ask the mask. Hashtag ask the mask. From my office in Cartoon Town East to the master bedroom where the K-Dog feast. The legends came from their humble abodes to get a jolt from our electrodes. I did the hashtag ask the mask. Oh, ask the mask, it was a cricketing smash. Ask the mask, it caught on in a flash. Ask the mask, hashtag ask the mask. The viewers were having so much fun, but the series had only just begun. The cast included Gower, Edwards, and Sidebottom. The program was rocking, all were digging the new hashtag. The Coffin Dodgers were about to arrive with their vocal group, the Mars Cricketer 5. The sea was rocking, all were digging the sound, with Woodsy on chains, backed by the K-Dog Pound. They did the hashtag. Ask the mask, go ask the mask. It was a cricketing smash, ask the mask. It caught on in a flash, ask the mask. Hashtag ask the mask. Now out from his Guinness World's voice did ring, as seemed he was troubled by just one thing. He went on Facebook and shook his fist. Whatever happened to the Lord Thomas Twist? They did the hashtag. Ask the mask, oh ask the mask, it was a cricketing smash. Ask the mask, it got on in a flash. Ask the mask, hashtag ask the mask. Now everything's cool, the Taverners are part of the band. And my hashtag is hit of the land, the K-Dog, the living. Hashtag ask the mask. They get to their door, tell them Woodsy sent you, then you can ask the mask, oh ask the mask. It was a cricketing smash, then you can ask the mask. Got on in a flash, ask the mask. Hashtag ask the mask. It's your turn now to hashtag ask the mask. So come on down now, hashtag ask the mask.
Well, I don't know what that was all about, but it's a really spooky episode 5 of the Mars Cricketer Series 2. Welcome, everybody, to this special spooky edition of the Mars Cricketer. Welcome. We've got another thirst for you. I don't think Broadway will be coming to my door, K-Dog. Perhaps Broadmoor, more likely. West End? Have I got a chance in West End?
More like Southend, I would think.
Yeah, probably Southend. Kieran, how's your week been? Let's have a few thank yous.
It's been all right. You're looking very well, Woodsy. You're looking better than normal today. So, yeah, good to see you. Welcome, everybody. Yes, welcome to the 5th episode of the second series of the Mars Cricketer, the 20th episode in total. It's obviously taking its toll on Woodsy because he's looking a bit old today. But, yeah, happy Halloween in advance to everybody. Welcome. Today we're going to have a really good show, I think. We're going to put some thank yous on. You got a bit of light now, Daryl, so that's good to see. Yeah, we'd like to say a very warm welcome and a thank you, as always, to all of our supporters and sponsors. We'll run through them as usual. So Paul Humphreys from Pop Activation, many thanks for your support as always. Graham Woodward from Grape Mines in Summertown in Oxford, who is providing the prize for tonight, another bottle of red or white, heading towards Christmas time. So thank you, Graham from Grape Mines. Really grateful for your support. And a big thank you to Sports Shots, Andy and Lorna Bone, who are sharing all our content now and did a lovely article last week in aid of the Lord's Taverners, which is what we're doing this for. So, yeah, without further ado, I think that we can sort of crack on tonight, Daryl. We've got a fair few viewers in the house, so to speak. So, yeah, this is going to be a good one, I think. It'd be interesting to see if we have lots of questions for today's Masked Cricketer. We haven't had a guest yet today, but we did have one yesterday from the lad that's christened us Dastardly and Muttley. So Wes Spearman has already guessed, quite apt really, is it John Creepy Crawley? So we'll have to ask the Masked Cricketer that when he comes on. But yeah, Daryl, over to you. Welcome everybody, and we'll crack on.
Obviously, we're doing this for our chosen charity, the Lord's Taverners. That will be scrolling down the bottom through the evening. So please, if you can, give generously to the Lord's Taverners. Yeah, spooky edition. Apologies if I've given anybody a real fright tonight with my outfit. But I think without further ado, I think we will ask and add our Masked Cricketer to the screen. Evening, Masked Cricketer. You're well. Now, our first question, as normal, is have you ever played at Great and Little Chew? It's a no. Nobody's played at Chew for a long time, K-Dog.
No, not since Kev Taylor, I think, was the last one that played at Chew. So we'll have to rectify that at some stage. Have you ever played cricket, Masked Cricketer, in the Cherwell Cricket League? That's a big no. Interesting news coming through tonight that the Cherwell League have voted 95% in favour of an amalgamation with the wonderful OCA League. So have you ever played cricket in the OCA League? No. This normally is the time where Daryl then makes a joke about the OCA League, but he's got to tread carefully tonight, so I'm sure he won't.
They could be my colleagues soon.
You could have the OCA umpires giving you out LBW, so you've got to be very good.
Very good. Very good. I will be. We have had a couple of guesses, actually. I'm going to go straight in there. Are you Keaton Jennings? Not Keaton Jennings. No.
Okay. We did get this one yesterday from our good friend Wesley, who wants to know, Masked Cricketer, whether you are John Creepy Crawley. Are you John Crawley? No. Okay.
Good one. Are you Alan Lamb? No, not Alan Lamb. The profile there, K-Dog, was a little lammy. Yeah, I thought. It's not Alan Lamb.
Right, so, Masked Cricketer, we'll crack on with some questions about your cricket. No. Have you ever played professional cricket? You have. So you've got another professional cricketer on. Okay. Have you ever played for England at any level? Hey, we've got another one. Brilliant stuff. So let's see what we've got coming in. So Wes Spearman's have you ever played professionally? The answer to that was yes. So we've already got that one. Do you currently play professional cricket? Ooh. That's a bit different, Daryl. We haven't got somebody your age tonight, maybe.
Yeah, somebody a bit younger. That's good.
A lot of people are younger than you, of course. Have you ever played overseas, Mars Cricketer? Have you ever played overseas? You have played overseas. Wow. Where do you get them from, Woodsy?
Keep coming at them. Really good.
Right.
I see we've had another guess. Are you Jimmy Anderson? Well, I can see that. There's a bit of profile there, isn't there? Oh, it's not.
Daryl. Okay. So not Jimmy Anderson. So when you played for England, or whatever level you played for, did you play are you a batsman? Okay, so you're a batsman who has played for England at some level. Brilliant.
I've got a question for you, Mars Cricketer. Are you a Tottenham supporter?
That's not going to narrow it down. There's loads of them, isn't there?
There's only one, I think, Kieran. I think we may have tracked this Tottenham Hotspur fan down. Don't know. Are you left-handed?
No. Oh, Woodley, you haven't got a left-hander today.
A left-hander brigade again. How disappointing for me on the left-hander side of things. Somebody great guess. I can see this as well. This could be a really inspired guess. Are you Josh Butler?
Wow.
Okay.
Now, in the wrong group, Richard Giles has just asked whether you're Gladstone Small. Probably not, but we'll ask. A little couple of shoulders going up and down. Okay.
Not Gladdy. It's not Gladdy.
So you've played overseas. We've got 30 concurrent viewers, which is brilliant. Okay, let's have a quick look down the list. Have you ever won an Ashes series? Have you played in the Ashes? No. Okay. I'll ask this one as a follow-up. Would you like to play in the Ashes? What a silly question. Okay. Oh, this is a good question. This narrows it down a wee bit. So we were going to ask whether you've played. So you play professionally, and you're a current player. We were going to ask if you've played first-class cricket, but we'll ask this one first. So, is your county team, presuming you play county cricket, do you play for one of the shires in county cricket? You do. So that probably narrows it down to about 10, maybe 15. Okay. No problem there. Okey-dokey. So presumably then, Mars Cricketer, you have played first-class cricket. Have you played first-class cricket? Fantastic.
Have you ever scored a double century? Treble century.
Right, so you played first-class cricket. I'm going to ask, have you, because you're a current player, I'm not going to push the boat out too much. Have you scored more than 5,000 runs in first-class cricket, Mars Cricketer? Ooh, so okay, so you scored more than 5,000. Should we say, have you scored more than 10,000 runs?
Oh, another legend just proving we don't just throw this program together. Oh, yes, we do.
Definitely do. We definitely do. Brilliant. Okay. Let's have a look at what we've got coming in. So I'm assuming then that if you scored that many runs, you've scored centuries. Have you scored more than 10 first-class centuries? Okay. So
well done.
Okay, so we double it. Should we see if you've scored more than 20 first-class centuries? Are you a real class act? Yes.
Interesting question. Have you ever captained your county? Captain. Interesting. The plot thickens, K-Dog. The plot thickens.
Little disclaimer. There's a little bit of a buzz on the line. That could be the bats and the cockroaches getting into the system tonight, maybe, and the cobwebs. But we'll crack on. Paul, I can't ask that question because it's not a yes/no.
But so, the question anyway.
Paul's asking, who would you want to win between Leeds and Man United? So, would you like Leeds to win, or would you like Man United to win? So, Leeds. Yeah, so we don't have to ask Man United then. Okay.
I love this. Have you ever played in Hong Kong? I think it's Hong Kong, but have you ever played in Hong Kong? Has played in Hong Kong.
Right, let's see what else we Okay.
Are you Alistair Cook? Oh no, I'm wrong question. Left-handed, isn't he?
No, he's not left-handed, so it's not going to be Alistair Cook.
Not going to be Alistair Cook. Okay.
Right. Are you known as an opening batsman? No. Okay.
Got the impression there, Master Cricketer, you may have started as an opener, now mid-order or top order. Am I right in that? Cool. Okay. Somebody says, are you the lovely Joe Root?
Could be. No, there's a little bit of a look there, isn't there? Could have been.
There is.
Master Cricketer, have you played for more than one county? So you played first class cricket. Have you played for more than one county? Brilliant. Okay. Did you play first class cricket this season just gone? Have you played first class cricket this year? Have we got a current player on our hands? We have. Brilliant.
Oh, this is good.
Brilliant.
This is good.
Oh, are you James Cole? That's a good question, isn't it? That could be.
Good.
Are you James Coles? Oh, Darryl, I thought you got one of our superstars from Oxfordshire there for a minute.
No.
No problem. Right.
No.
Coming in.
Oh, this is good. Have you played for supported as a youngster, Kent? Oh, cool. Yeah.
Played for Kent. Okay. So, if you played for Kent, is Rob Key the best batsman you've ever seen? Okay. Are you Dominic Bess? That's another good shout. It looks like it could be. I've seen Dominic Bess wear a hat like that as well. So
actually, I'm just going to ask: are you also a bowler? Do you bowl as well? Not a bowler, purely top order batter. I think we're getting some guesses in, Kieran. We're getting close.
We are. So, another question. Have you played for Hampshire? Yeah, okay.
Did you score 100 in the same game as Chris Gale?
Somebody knows who this is, I think, Darryl. So, Wes Spearman wants to know, are you Zach Crawley? Are you Zach Crawley?
Zach Creepy Crawley. That would have been so good. That would have been for the Halloween special. Yeah, Creepy Crawley.
Yeah. That would have proved you don't just throw it together if you'd have got Creepy Crawley on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not Zach Crawley.
Brilliant.
That question about the 100 with Chris Gale came from the legendary Chris Leaney, who we all know and love. And welcome, Chris. Good to see you, mate.
Yes.
Fantastic effort that you did on the Thames Path Walk as well, Chris. Really, really good. So congratulations on that. I know your mate gave up about 10 miles early, but yeah, watch that from start to finish with you, mate. And that was a fantastic effort. I'm sure Darryl will agree.
Absolutely, 100%.
So we've got a couple of guesses that have come in. We've got Wesley Spearman, who seems to have been guessing every single cricketer the world's ever seen. And we've also had Chris Leaney. So we'll go with Wes Spearman. I think that he was the first to ask. So this is quite quick, actually, if this is correct. Do you want to ask it, Darryl, or shall I ask it?
I'm going to ask, are you Sam Northeast? It's Northeast, everybody. Welcome. You can
You can take the mask off now.
I haven't been able to see for the last 10 minutes.
I'm struggling a bit, I have to be honest, but I'll crack on. I'll crack on, as they say. Sam, welcome. Thanks for joining us tonight. Really good to spend some time with us. I normally ask at this stage, you know, from all the stuff we've been going through over the last few months with the pandemic, etc. What's that been like for you over the last few months?
Yeah, it's strange times, isn't it? I guess, but it's cricket-wise, it's definitely different, and going back to training now is definitely not as what it used to be. But no, all okay here, sort of in the countryside, so not much has changed, I guess.
You alluded there to the change in training practices. What sort of major change has that been for you? What's been the sort of major change?
I think it's just training in small groups now. We're sort of back to not being allowed to be in a large group indoors, and so you don't get to see half your squad really at the moment. But I guess after a summer, you know, of not playing a huge amount, everyone wants to get back and play, and sort of we know we're not going to be able to play till April time, and guys aren't going to be allowed to go away either and play to grade cricket in Australia or club cricket elsewhere. So it's a different sort of winter and schedule for cricketers now, and but yeah, I think we're going to have to live with this for a while, I guess.
Do you think that's been sort of advantageous for you as an individual cricketer, or has it been a bit of a hindrance? I mean, from a squad, camaraderie point of view, it's quite difficult, but from an individual point of view, has that been quite helpful?
I think that one thing it has done is it's re-sparked the sort of hunger and love of cricket. Not that it was ever low, but I think at some stage you do need a bit of a break and recharge the batteries and go again. And even playing this summer and having a bit of a break, you definitely feel lucky to be out there playing a little bit more than when your sort of daily grind of county cricket can just not overwhelm you, but you lose that love of it. So it was nice to just go back and play and definitely got that hunger back.
Brilliant. Kieran, I know some questions are coming in. I'm going to go over to you.
Yeah, we have had a fair few coming in, actually. First of all, your number one fan, by the looks of it, Wes, who he's down in university in Southampton, and I think he was watching quite a lot of you when he could. Probably not this year, obviously, but he thinks that you're a legend, Sam. So just a big hello to Wes. He watches every week. Darryl, before we get to the questions, we've got viewers from down under. We've got Adam Beck on again from New Zealand, and we've also got Terry Maycott from Australia in the house tonight. So I don't know what time it is over there. He must be up very early, but great to see you.
I'm guessing, as normal, Ricky Ponton is on the line trying to get in on our act. Is he?
Yeah, almost certainly. Almost certainly. Yeah.
Ricky, no. We said no.
Sam, so yeah, we've got some questions. So obviously, you're 31 years old, so still relatively young as a batsman, and you've been on the sort of the fringes of getting into the full England side, and you've made it quite clear that that's something that you still aspire to, and I guess all you can keep doing is scoring the weighted runs and keep knocking on the door.
Yeah, I think so. I think that if everything comes about playing for England, you should take your eye off your sort of the day in, day out playing for Hampshire, and actually, the England thing might never happen for me. So all you can do is really take it, day in, day out at Hampshire and enjoy playing, and not look too far ahead, and not look at possible ways in or anything like that. You just got to enjoy the sort of the way you're playing and try and improve, and because it's a short career, as everyone says, and you just want to make the most of it.
And you've obviously this year played more first-class cricket than any of us were expecting to play. But you said to us in the little the promo yesterday that just before we went on air for our promo that it has been odd, but you said that actually the T20 was where you missed the atmosphere, not so much in the county championship.
Yeah, just because I think it's more of a the sort of the showbiz element, I guess, of T20 and what everything which comes with it. Whereas Championship, yes, at the beginning I think it was a little bit tough. Just just not having fans in general is not what you sort of play cricket for, I guess. But the T20 sort of definitely lacked it. It just felt extremely quiet, and when you got down to those sort of last sort of over where you need so many runs or wickets, the sort of fans play such a big part and such a big role in that. And it was actually a shame in a lot of ways, because we played some really good cricket games which went down to the wire this summer, and I'm sure spectators would have loved it. And when in playing cricket when you have no fans, it's not really what we do it for, really. We do it to play in front of people and to have that atmosphere, and when it's not there, it's not the same. But we definitely got used to it. But hopefully we can get some people back in the ground next year.
Yeah, I guess that the fact that we got cricket in at all was actually more than we were expecting when we were in the middle of lockdown in sort of May and June. So I guess you take what you can, really. I just want to sort of continue on that. So obviously in the championship, the crowds aren't really there anyway. Is there a difference as a player then when crowds are in? Taking away the numbers, the T20, the atmosphere is electric all the time, irrespective of who you're playing, isn't it? So a big difference between the two.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I have to admit, fielding on the boundary at Chelmsford this year was a bit nicer than previous years. But apart from that, it is different, and it definitely takes a different element away from playing. And I think some players, they love that, don't they? Just love, they get up for the sort of the battle and that atmosphere, and some players might just thrive when there aren't crowds around. So yeah, it has been different, and not to have a sort of a full schedule of cricket as well. Sort of putting together a Bob Wills Trophy, which worked really well, but over a county season, you want a full sort of championship season to see who's the sort of the best team in the country, I guess, and we didn't get that. But the T20 was something near, and I think that even T20 was a success. It was something which was on TV and worked well, and I'm sure a lot of people were sort of tuning in, and so I'm still watching the IPL now, and it's nice to have cricket on the TV.
Definitely is. I'll hand back over to Daryl for a few more minutes. I just want to ask your thoughts on the structure for next year in terms of how the ECB have structured it with sort of three divisions and obviously the T20 Blast and possibly the 100. I mean, presumably it's something that the players are all buying into. I suppose you have to, I guess, because it is what it is. But the three tiers for the county championship and the 100 perhaps coming in is something you're looking forward to.
Yeah, I'm not sure about the sort of conferences, but I think it's a good sort of time to try it, and if that sort of works, then brilliant. But personally, I would have kept it sort of Div 1, Div 2. But at the same time, why not try something different at the moment? And then if it is a success, then brilliant. Then I'm up for it. But it is going to be different. I thought that Div 1, Div 2 worked quite well, and next year it'll be tough, because you're going to have to win a lot of games early to be able to go through to Division 1, and then if you're not in Division 1, then you sort of like your season's over, but it won't feel the same. So we'll see. And with the 100, everyone's sort of waiting, aren't they? That I think it'll be really good. I think it'll be a huge success. But in sort of the climate we're in at the moment, it's going to have to be really.
Yeah, I mean, I was on the fence about the 100 for a long time. I must be honest, Sam, until Charlotte Edwards offered me a free ticket. If I get offered something for free, I'll snap it up. So I'm a big 100 fan now, so we'll go for it. Darryl, I know you've got a few questions. We've got lots of questions coming in as well, but I'll hand back to you and I'll just collate some of the questions that are coming in. So yeah, I'll go back to you for a bit.
Yeah, I want to take you back to your debut, actually, Sam, if I may. Back in 2007, I think it was. I know Kieran will ask a question about your Harrow Eton game at Lords, and that will come on to eventually. But I was just thinking, you were 17 at the time, and we've just had young James Coles make a debut for Sussex at the age of 16. Just wondered how you coped with it at that age, and what was going through your mind at that time.
Well, my debut was definitely a reality check. Coming up against sort of Onions, Plunkett, Otis Gibson, and got Norton 4. And I think when you're young, you just think you're sort of fearless, aren't you? And nothing really bothers you or phases you. And it was a bit of a reality check actually to what the sort of the next level was and where I was probably at with my game, and what I needed to do to achieve going forward really. So it was a good experience, and one which definitely made me go forward pretty quick. And to face that sort of bowling lineup, I didn't really know much about it, but I was Norton 4, and my game was over before my eyes really. But it was fantastic. It's a learning experience. I can't remember much about it. I remember just clipping one off my legs for 4 to get off the mark, but then after that, I didn't last very long. So, but yeah, I was very lucky at Kent to have a lot of really good players around me to sort of get me through my early bit of my career and to sort of to kick on. So I was very fortunate in that.
I apologise at this point, actually, Sam, because you can't see my expressions under this mark. I am with you. I was smiling along to that. So
believe me, Sam, it's better looking at that than it is looking at his normal face. So it's all good.
I actually realised that through my cricket season this year, I obviously had nobody to play with. Go on, stay with me on that one. Debut then 2007. So what did the coaches what sort of advice did they give you after that debut? What was said to you?
Not a huge amount, I guess. I think, as I said, I was sort of very fortunate. I always felt backed. I never felt if I got Norton 4 there that they didn't think I was any good. So I felt like I was in the right place, and I had a lot of good support. All the way through my academy into second 11. And so as though it wasn't brilliant, I actually had to then wait probably sort of a year and a bit actually to play my second game, and luckily got 89 against Glamorgan my second game, and that kind of just gives you the belief that you can play at that level. So that was nice that there was a score quite early on in my career, and but yeah, after that first, it gave me a little bit of a taste, my first game, and then I had to sort of wait and earn my second one.
We've had I'll leave that one for Kieran actually, because it's a nice little question come in about a youngster playing now. What players, what coaches were your main influence at that stage? Was there anybody that really stood out and sort of took you under their wing a little bit?
Well, Keezy's always been somebody who's has always supported me along the way, and he's got a fantastic sort of cricket brain on batting especially. So he was always there for most of my career really to help me through that. But I mean, I look back now and I'm sort of extremely blessed to the sort of the coaches which I've worked with, from Paul Farbrace to Jimmy Adams to Graham Ford, Rob Key's been around, and Martin van Jaarsveld and players. I mean, there's been a lot of really good coaches, really good players. I look back now and just think, I was extremely lucky that I was in that environment. And Paul Farbrace was my academy coach growing up. So you don't get much better than that, and definitely put me in good stead.
Yeah, some great names there. Some really good to have you back at that stage. I mean, was it a daunting experience through that sort of first year or two, or did you just take it in your stride? Were you sort of confident enough to show what you could do?
I think that when I first started, I was quite confident, and then I had sort of a bad, probably second year after I sort of did quite well. And then you sort of start changing things, and I remember standing with my bat like really high, and then really low, and you constantly tinker and change things. And you go through that. It's a sort of a bit of a process. I feel like not every player goes through, but every player sort of has that you do really well, and then you sort of come down to reality a bit, and then you start tinkering with your technique and your mindset, etc. And it takes a little bit to get back. And as I said, you need those people around you just to reassure you that you're doing the right things, and then a bit of hard work alongside that, really, to get you back. And it probably took me a few years to get to a level which I was sort of happy with. And at times, you think that you're never going to succeed and you're never going to do well at that level. But I just had to keep persevering, really, and then something sort of clicked, and I got a few hundreds, and then I was away.
I think you self-confessed sort of a late developer, similar to our very own Jack Brooks, Brooksy Ferret, if he's watching. Hi, Jack. Similar sort of age when you sort of kicked on with your career around about 24, 25. Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that everything sort of came sort of easy to me when I was young. I was always scoring runs, and then through all the age groups, and then when I became sort of a professional cricketer, everything didn't come so naturally. I didn't know why I wasn't succeeding to the level which I expected, and probably other people expected. And it probably took a few years of being a little bit out of the spotlight as well, and then coming back and then doing quite well. So it was. I sort of wish I didn't have that blip in my career, from my stats wise, but it probably made me the cricketer I am today, I guess.
Yeah, I can see that from the stats as well. So no, great work, and from your perseverance, that's superb. I mean, it is a great career. Over 10,000 first class runs is a great effort, and 16,000, I think it might even be more than that now, career runs. Any advice to a batter that's going through a sort of lean period? Is there anything that extra work or a mindset that you had? Because can you give any advice on that?
I think for me personally, I tinkered quite a lot. I changed a lot all the time, and that's not necessarily a healthy thing, because you end up coming to somewhere back to where you started, really. But it is perseverance, but it's also staying quite sort of mentally level. I think that at times when you're going through a bad patch, everything seems pretty horrific, and then you go into the nets and you're constantly changing, you're trying to find this magic button or answer, I guess, and it's never really as simple as that. It's just constant hitting balls and trying to stay as sort of mentally level as you can. But it's always quite nice to have somebody you have faith in as well, who can go on that sort of journey with you, and put that your trust in them, that they're going to take you to the right place, I think. So, as I said, I was always very lucky to have people around me who I knew had my best interests. And at times, I think that's quite important to have somebody around who you can really have faith in.
Yeah. I'm going to hand back to Kieran in a moment. There's just one more question I want to ask for the time being, Sam. Is captaincy? There's one thing, we've had Strauss on and Paul, who skippers, obviously at differing levels. I just wonder, was that something you really enjoyed? Was it, you relished that? Did that help your own personal performances, or was it, a difficult time?
It was never something I I necessarily went after, but when it happened, I really enjoyed it and enjoyed all the different aspects of it, from the tactical to the man management side, leading from the front, etc. And it's definitely a huge role of cricket, and it made me a better cricketer actually, thinking about the game more. But it can wear you down. That's, and you've seen probably, obviously with Strauss, he's on a bit of a different level to me, and the media's scrutiny which he would have got compared to myself, but and constantly being in the spotlight, that wears you down, and trying to manage people all the time and trying to get the best out of them, can wear you down, and by the end of your sort of time as captain, your form can slip, and sometimes it's best to sort of just give it up and refresh, and then at a later time maybe come back to it. And that's definitely where I am. I probably needed a bit of a break from the captaincy at the time, and had a nice bit of time away from captaining, and definitely had a sort of a fresher outlook. But sort of now, when I've been doing it while Vincey's not around, I feel fresh to do it again.
Oh, brilliant. I just, before I hand over to K-Dog, I'll just point down there at the bottom, guys, the reason we're doing this, scrolling at the bottom there, our Just Giving page for the Masked Cricketer. The Lord's Taverners do a great job for disadvantaged and disabled children. If you can donate anything, it will be fantastic. So please put your hand in your pocket if you possibly can. K-Dog, over to you. Some great questions coming in. I'm really looking forward to these.
Yeah, there are some great questions. Before that, though, Sam, I just wanted to allude to the Lord's Taverners, because you're an ambassador for the Lord's Taverners and all the great work that they do. So, from your perspective, how much has the Lord's Taverners had sort of an impact on your career and your life in cricket in general? It's something that you're very proud to be associated with, isn't it?
It is, and it's something really close to my heart, and especially one of my relatives is disabled, and that's why it appealed straight away, really, and knowing there's some fantastic people who do some great things, it's something which I'm so glad that they're so sort of closely associated with cricket, and we can really get involved in things like this and anything. I'm always there to help out at any time, really, but the good thing is there's some fantastic people who are doing some great things, and I'm really happy to be a part of it.
We're not going to hold you to a date or anything, but I think at this point we'll just mention, before we get on with some questions, we have our next charity game. So we had a Masked Cricketers match against the Lord Taverners on the August bank holiday, the 31st of August. We won that one, Sam, by the way. I think it was possibly a contrived finish, maybe, but I think the Lord's Taverners will be quite keen to get their revenge on the Masked Cricketers. 31st of May, which is the bank holiday at the end of May, Sam. So if you haven't got a game, at that club, he always has to flash that up every week. It's in his contract, Sam. He has to mention it. So if for any reason you're not playing for Hampshire and you've got a week off, which I'm sure won't be the case, then 31st of May. I'm not going to hold you to it, because obviously you're a current player. We've got some of the former players that are going to come along. But if you're free on that day, then it'd be great to see you. The Lord's Tavern is a wonderful cause. We got to know little crew who came to that first game, and it's really inspired us as well, Sam. So we're going to crack on with some other questions. We've got some really good questions that are coming in. I then want to, after that, just go back a little bit in time to your sort of school days and your time at Harrow and the infamous Eton Harrow match. But loads of really good questions coming in. First one from your number one fan, so we'll ask this one. How big a decision was it for you when you moved from Kent to Hampshire? Because obviously you Kent were your formative years. You went to Hampshire. It was a big decision.
Yeah, it was. It was a huge decision, and it's when you've got such an emotional attachment to a county. I sort of grew up watching it and playing, sort of on the outfield while Kent were playing, and you have that attachment to a club, and but it's I guess for reasons which probably everyone knows about, decided to move to Hampshire, and it wasn't an easy one, but Kent will always be that special club, which I came through all the ranks, and it's a really good club down there. But Hampshire's been really opened their arms to me, and been really good to me as well. So enjoying my time down here, and hopefully we can kick on and win some silverware next few years.
I mean, Hampshire, in itself is a pretty successful county, particularly in the shorter form of the game in recent years, and obviously, as you say, hopefully in better times with COVID behind us, you can win some silverware there. Got a couple of really good questions, one following on from the other, from Paul Fowler. So Paul says that he's got an 8-year-old who is absolutely obsessed with cricket, and he wants to know, as an 8-year-old, have you got any advice when you were 8 or when you were that age that stuck with you? So were you advised? Can you remember some advice you had when you were really young that stuck with you throughout your career?
To be honest, I mean, when I was sort of 7 or 8, I remember just playing cricket all the time, from in the evenings with mates to my parents throwing me balls in the back garden, to just wanting to just pick up a cricket bat at any stage. And I just think naturally just learn these things. You watch as well, you watch cricket and you pick things up. And there's definitely nothing which was sort of stuck with me straight away then, but I think you just naturally pick things up. And it's probably not the time to be sort of, really going on the bowling machine and technically coaching someone. Let them express themselves, let them play with freedom. And that will come, the time where you can go in and hone your technique is to come. But you see all these players who come from sort of Malinga bowling on beaches or whatever, and Boomerang, these different techniques, and they just, I think you should let these things happen naturally, and you just never know what you might have on your hands at the end.
Yeah, I think you've answered the second part of his question. So he was next going to ask if you could personally give one piece of advice to a youngster, what would that be? But I guess it would be, stick with what's natural to you, and most importantly, I guess, especially at that age, it is to enjoy yourself, and that's really key, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it is. You can't really be forced, I don't think, at that time. I was very lucky actually. I had Mark Benson as my sort of school coach at that time. And I'm sure he told me a lot of good wisdom, but I can't tell you what that would have been now. So, those times are great, and play with freedom and enjoy it for sure.
Absolutely. So this isn't a question; this is a comment. You've probably heard this loads of times, but I'm gonna put the comment in there. So. Paul Lyon trying to be funny. You've probably heard this joke loads of times. So he says, Sam started playing in the southeast, Kent, went to the southwest, Hampshire. Have you ever thought of going to Durham to play somewhere where your namesake is in the northeast? Sorry, now I have to ask you.
I did. I always, every time I play Durham, there's always somebody who mentions that as I walk past.
I thought it might be. It's far too cold up there, isn't it? You want to be on the south coast and the tropical parts of the country, don't you? Right, another good question's come in. Some players do, some players don't. It'd be interesting what your thoughts are. So as a batter, do you have any sort of routines or superstitions that you have before you go out onto the field?
Well, I'm horrifically superstitious. Like it's just ridiculous. Like I would sort of wear the same like socks, underwear, listen to the same song. If I've scored runs like for the whole season, it's just. It gets a little bit ridiculous by the end of the year, and I have to sort of just force myself to sort of just re-go again. And then the next year, I know I always come back to the same things. I just sort of can't let it go, and I refuse to have a bat without like a yellow grip now and stuff like that. It's gone a bit crazy, but I think as batters we are a bit nuts. Like we're a bit crazy, especially opening batters. They're not right in their head. So. I think we've all ended up doing stupid things in our career, I think.
What's the song, Sam? Interested in the song choice?
It does vary, because I can't stay on the same song for the whole of my career. Like I'd be a bit like repetitive, like it'd be, but there was a London Grammar song which I put on one year, and I had to listen to it the moment I got into a cricket ground every time, and that got a bit out of hand.
I don't think you'll be listening to Ask the Mask anytime soon, Kate.
No, that was horrific, Daryl. But you were so proud of it as well. The lyrics were good, but the background wasn't. Sam, we've got Jack Brooks. Brooksy Ferret has arrived. He always does every week, so I'm sure you know Brooksy. Have you faced him? I guess you must have faced him in a competitive match at some point.
Yeah, I'm sure he's got me out. I know he's definitely got me out once. I think he sent me off one time when he played for Northampton.
I bet he did.
Yeah.
Brilliant. And Daryl, just to say, we've got the current and the former Oxfordshire captains on now as well. So Johnny Cater and Ian Horton are both watching. So good to see you both. Really good to see you. Another question for you. This is sort of quite a specific question from Joe Harris. He says, can you remember playing an indoor cricket match at Challow and Childrey with one Darren Stevens on a Saturday night before a charity game? Can you remember that far back? I don't know.
I can, yeah. That had to jog my memory a bit then, and there was definitely a few pints that night as well. So, yeah, I can. Steve was just good at everything, isn't he? He's just annoyingly good,
Yeah. And he proves there's hope for Darren as well, because he's getting better with age. He's like a fine wine, isn't he, Darren Stevens? He's maturing and getting better with age. So it's great to see him still going strong. One more question for now on cricket-related stuff, and then I just wanted to have a quick chat about your sort of formative years. So you mentioned Brooksy there. Jack Brooks has possibly got you out. In terms of other bowlers, who do you think the best bowler is that you have faced in your career so far? The most difficult bowler to face?
Brooksy's always tough. Somebody I sort of faced in my earlier career who I just thought was always really tough was Glenn Chappell. I just felt that he always had my number and just never felt like I could ever score runs against him. And I faced Muralitharan, which was just probably on a different level, but only once. But just couldn't pick him or do anything with him really. Like, it's just seriously tough work. So, but so probably Chappie was probably somebody in my early years who just thought this guy's on a different level, and facing him, just thinking if I'm going to play for England, I'm probably going to have to to be able to combat against something of his quality. So probably Glenn Chappell would be somebody.
Fantastic stuff. Just to hand that to Darryl, I just wanted to just talk briefly about your formative years. So you went to Harrow and played in the legendary and the infamous Eton Harrow match a couple of times at Lords. Was it twice or three times you played there?
5.
No, I mean 5 times. So you were talking to us yesterday about the Eton Harrow match, and you said that the atmosphere in those games is about about as toxic as you can get in any game, and you said that it's quite an experience.
Yeah, it sort of puts Chelmsford to one side. You get more views in a Lord's game, Eton Harrow, than at Chelmsford. And they definitely prepare for you, the Eton fans, for when you come out. And it put me, prepared me for first class cricket really, and I guess the sledging and playing on like a big event. No one really cares how many runs you score during that season. If you don't get any in the Lord's game, then the season's pretty much over. And losing that game it's just not an option really. It's fantastic. It's a great historical day, and the opportunity to play at Lords at such a young age was fantastic. But it's probably it was a good character building game, and fond memories for sure.
So if you played 5 times, then what age would you have been when you first played at Lords? You would have been a very young man then, I'm guessing. You have to have been in the first team for a few years. So what age were you when you first played there?
So I was 14 when I first played at Lords, and then I played as a 14-year-old in the first team, and they sort of pushed me up pretty early on, and it was one of those as well, which was I wasn't good enough to play at that level at that stage, but they threw me in, and I learned pretty quick.
I think you were the apparently at the time the youngest player in 60 years to play in that match at Lords. I just wanted to talk one more thing about your Harrow time, and this was something that I wanted to mention, which was the tour to Sri Lanka in the year when there was the tsunami, and you were actually in Galle when that hit, weren't you? I know you said yesterday you couldn't remember much about it, but you mentioned the experience and the way that the Sri Lankans supported you all, and the way they've come back, and it was quite a moment in your life. But can you talk a little bit about that, if you can remember too much about what actually happened that day, that fateful day?
Yeah, I mean, I think my mind has sort of pushed it to one side a little bit when you sort of have like an event like that. It sort of pushes it, all the sort of bad things, I guess, to one side, and I sort of can't remember much about the actual event itself. But I do remember the aftermath of it, and when we walked into Galle, we were playing a game at the time, and we had to run up into the pavilion, and it sort of the water just came in straight away, and we were very lucky that all of us got through that. But we walked into Galle the next day, and the Sri Lankan people couldn't have been nicer to us. They wanted to help us when it should have been us helping them, really. I mean, we were going around and trying to help out in any way and giving water, but they were so kind and generous. And any time I go back to Sri Lanka now, I feel like I just feel like it's a special place with special people, and it's such a tragic event. You do feel when you go through something like that, you do feel like you sort of bond with people, I guess. And it was it was really tragic. I mean, one thing which always stands out in my mind, which was when that next day there was the whole sort of town was round statue of Buddha, which was the only thing which was left standing really in the whole town, including us, went round and prayed and stayed there for a while. And it was, they sort of just felt like the whole of Galle was there, which was a special moment. But it was something which I sort of don't remember too much of it. But at the same time, going back to Sri Lanka is always extremely nice.
I mean, I remember that the stadium was pretty much destroyed, wasn't it? And so obviously a very significant moment in your life. But I just we were asked about that, and a tragedy. But obviously a great thing came from the rebuild, and the stadium is one of the best stadiums in the world now. Daryl, I'm going to hand back to you. There's a few more questions coming in that we can ask at the end, but back over to you, and I'll come back with a few more questions before we finish.
Yeah, thanks, K-Dog. Sam, one of the questions that I always ask as we're coming up to the hour mark, it gives you a chance to think about it. If you had a superpower, what would it be? You've got a chance to think about that. I'll come back to that question in a moment. I think I wanted to sort of delve into any sort of people that inspired you into it. You mentioned, 6 and 7 and 8, you were playing and going down and watching Kent and stuff like that. But who were your real inspirations at that time, and throughout your career?
I mean, it's as you say. I mean, it was more me going to Kent and watching cricket there, which inspired me, to be honest, and just being so local to the ground, gave me opportunities to go quite regular. So just watching them and playing and just seeing the atmosphere there was just something that I wanted to do, I guess, when I was older. So just having that, and then not really having like a football team or like a rugby team of significant notice around, it was always sort of going to the cricket ground. But then watching on TV and watching, I always used to think Ricky Ponting and Brian Lara growing up were two guys I always wanted to play like. Unfortunately, I hate to say it's an Australian who I sort of inspired me, but I always go back to how Ricky Ponting plays, and I always wanted to play like him, and just the way his sort of attacking nature as a batter was always something which I wanted to do, and to play like him and play quick bowling like him, just because he always looked fearless. So unfortunately, it's an Aussie who sort of inspired me later on, but that's the unfortunate truth.
Again, I'm smiling under here, thinking, Yeah, Ricky Ponting, what a legend. But we're still not going to have him on the show. He keeps peppering. It's terrible. But literally, I always ask these questions of what happens in the changing room. Who's the comical guy in the Kent and Hampshire changing rooms over the period of time? And any funny stories that you can sort of shed light on?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, Mitch Claydon is always the sort of joker it was always a joke in the Ken changer. I'm trying to think of something which exactly happened, but with Mitch, you never felt at ease. There was always a practical joke or something, just around. So he's hard work to be around. You always feel on edge. And probably Chris Wood in the Hampshire change room. He's exactly the same, and will not give you any peace. It's just you feel like you're on edge. Something's going to happen, but I can't think of any stories at this moment in time. But those two definitely come to mind, especially Mitch.
Good to know. And finally, before I hand back to Kieran, because I know there's a lot more questions coming in, good to ask you as well. But I don't know. I was going to say favourite player you played against, or hardest player you played against, both from a batting and bowling perspective. I suppose Ricky Ponting. Have you played against him, or is that Muralithian might be up there? But what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't played against Ponting, and Murali was sort of a special day of playing against him, and you're in awe of sort of actually wanting to see them bowl, at the same time, and you've been watching them on TV, and then you're like, this bloke's actually bowling at me now. It's a bit strange, and then you just kind of want to see him. When I've always watched like Amla or someone play against me, being like just a fan of batting, you don't want him to get out. At the same time, you sort of do. I mean, when I was captain, I was desperate to get them out, but then when I was just playing, I was like, well, I don't mind watching them for about half hour and just let them play. There's someone like Amla, and then playing and batting with Amla in the middle at Hampshire was special, and then playing, batting with Dale Steyn as well, and playing with him at Hampshire was, that's just, it was a huge honour as well. So. They've been extremely lucky, and those two guys, as I mentioned, Steyn and Amla. I mean, they're just such special people, and just and Amla as well. He was just used to tell me, he just used to say, cricket's a very fickle game. 1 minute you're very high and low, and it's you go for the rough and the smooth, and he's definitely been through that.
Oh, that's brilliant. Dale Steyn always used to scare me, I must admit. Is he just a nice guy off the field and on the field?
He scares me even when I was a teammate of his. He just used to give you those eyes, and just like if I couldn't misfield anything, he just used to stare me down, and that was it. But it's the same thing, you just think, oh God, just please don't bother me to that. I just don't need this in my life. And same with Fidel, actually. Fidel in nets, you hit him for a good shot, and you just know he can't have it. He can't just let you have a good shot. There was like a bouncer coming or something was coming. So. Bowlers just, even if they're on the same side, they just can't let anything go.
Oh, I love it. Good competition in the nets. That's what you need. Brilliant. The great stories. I will ask you this now then. Superpower, what would it be?
Well, I mean, to be honest, I'd love to just never get out. I mean, that would just be lovely.
That's a good cricket answer.
I've been wanting and hoping for that for years. Just never worked.
No one knew that I had the superpower, so everyone just thought I was just a genius. But I'd occasionally just get out just to make everyone feel a bit better. But
that's very kind of you.
That's what I do now, anyway.
Oh, I love it, Sam. K-Dog, over to you. I know there's a few more questions. Quick fire.
See, my superpower is never getting in, really. So it's a bit different to yourself. Right, a couple of there's a funny question that's come in. We haven't had this one before, but you've obviously been in a few changing rooms over the time. Who would you say is the most obsessive cricket badger that you've ever met? That's a good question, that.
Obsessive cricket badger. Oh God, I'm trying to think.
Because it could be argued that I am with Daryl, because I'm used to cricket, but I am a badger, I must admit.
The cricket badger. Let me think. I know Tomlinson, who used to play at Hampshire, and now he's a coach at Hampshire. James Tomlinson, who left arm seamer. I mean, he's a proper Badger. Never shared a changing room with him, but knowing him as a person now and as a coach, he would be top 3 of all time. I think, without a doubt.
I'm just trying to work out who our top cricket Badger is, Daryl. Probably somebody like George Reed, I would think, would be able to that thing. Just before we get to another question, Mervyn says, Sam, that you're playing golf tomorrow, I gather, over at Sudbury for the Lord's Tavern. Now, he said to us yesterday that you play golf, but he didn't say you're not very good, but he said you play golf in a very relaxed manner. You don't sort of worry too much about it. But he said that it's a Lord's Taverners golf day at Sudbury Golf Club between 11 and he's just said actually there's been a dropout. So if there's any takers, so there you go. There's an offer here. Any takers for a game of golf at Sudbury? Then I don't know whether that's whether he's asking anybody on this group, but if somebody wants to play golf, they've got a day off tomorrow. Not you, Daryl, because you've got coaching to do. So, just going back to the cricket Badger question, Sam, Wes Spearman says that you haven't met him yet, and if you meet him, then that's not a bad shout. He really is a cricket Badger, isn't he, Daryl? So, right. Yeah, okay, this is a good one that's come in. So if you look back at your career, and you've obviously scored well over 10,000 runs, this isn't sort of specifically asking about your best innings. What would you say, 2 questions here, the most memorable game you've been involved in and the biggest high in cricket that you've had, whether that be an innings or something else. So the most memorable game and your biggest high in cricket.
Yeah, well, I think we mentioned it earlier, was the game at Taunton. When I scored 100 and then Chris Gale scored, thinking I was sort of the big cheese, and then Chris Gale came in, got 150 when I got like 110 and completely eclipsed me. But we ended up winning it in the last ball, and just an epic game of cricket, and to have done well and then won was great, and we ended up being top of that league that year as well. It just sort of was just rolling on, and that was a great day. Thinking about sort of the best knock I've had was probably up at Durham. Actually, I remember scoring 100 against sort of Mark Wood and Chris Rushworth and Graham Onions, and just a great attack on something which was a bit spicy. I think there's very few times I've gone off a cricket field and thought, that was pretty good, and I thought, that was the one occasion I remember just thinking, that was a really good effort.
So Northeast did shine in the Northeast then. Sorry, I've got to get that in there, haven't I? So, okay, one non-cricket related. This is the last one for now, and I'll hand back to Daryl because we have gone over the hour. We're really grateful, Sam, for you spending so much time with a sensible one and a fool dressed as a skeleton. There's 2 more questions. So I'll ask this one first. We've had a few sort of ex-legends on as well. If you were asked to go into the jungle or into Dancing on Ice, which would you choose?
Definitely jungle.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So you'd happily eat a cockroach, would you, or a kangaroo's testicle or something? Yeah,
no, that'd be fine. I mean, at heights, I'm not a huge fan of, but anything else, I think I'd be alright. And you'd lose a bit of weight, you'd come back in good nick for the season. So, yeah, definitely jungle.
It's actually like somebody's playing a didgeridoo behind you as well at the moment. Anyway, Sam, actually, it's all apt for being out in the jungle. Sorry, Kieran.
It wouldn't be one of our live streams if there wasn't something going wrong, Daryl, because we don't just throw this together, do we?
Oh, yes, we do.
Okay, so you won how was it winning the Royal London One Day Cup in 2018 and then captaining Hampshire in the final last year? So you were in 2 finals in 2 years then?
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't easy playing Kent for the first time at Lord's, and just wish it was any other side really to have won that first final, but it was a good day, and then huge honour to captain Hampshire few years ago in a final. So it's a shame that it's not back there. The 50 over final is not at Lord's because it's a fantastic occasion. And yeah, to win one and lose one, he's been on both sides of it, I guess, but it's still a fantastic day.
Awesome. Right, last couple for me, then it will definitely be back to Daryl. I know I say this every week, Daryl, so this will be the last.
It just goes on, mate, to be honest.
The last couple. In terms of future ambition, Sam, so you are still relatively young, certainly compared with Daryl, you're 31 years old. We've got sort of future ambitions. I know we touched on it earlier, a championship or some international honours. What would you say would be an ambition that you'd like to achieve?
Yeah, well, championship would be fantastic if we could win a championship here. Would be great. I mean, but there's so much opportunity now for young players in the game. Playing in the 100 and going away and playing in leagues then, and Test cricket and championship, everything. So I think it's just it's a winter which is very exciting and can start earlier than probably usual and really get to get better and try and especially win a championship, but. Maybe England honours and playing 100 at some stage and going abroad. There's so many options there, but just see how good I can be this year, and hopefully something comes of that.
And I think it's fair to say, isn't it? The England teams are so hugely successful at the moment. It's knocking on the door, which is fantastic to see, and the form you've been in and the runs you're scoring. Personally, it's been a pleasure speaking to you, and I'll certainly be keeping everything crossed that you do knock through that door and get your opportunity, Sam, because you're a very down to earth, laid back individual, and it's been an absolute pleasure. Last one, and it will definitely be back then. So, if it wasn't cricket, Sam, what would it be? If you weren't a cricketer, what would you have been looking to sort of do in your career?
I think I would have liked to have been in sport in some capacity. I think in something. I think my missus will tell you that it's 24/7 sport on in this household, and it drives her insane. So I would have liked to have ended up in something sport related. And after cricket, I think that's probably the same. It would be nice to continue with some form of sport, not necessarily cricket, but to be involved and be involved with the Tabs as well, consistently as well, and continue that for the future. So I'm very lucky and hopefully play for a number of years of cricket.
Daryl, back to you. I've finished now, so you'll be pleased to know. Sam, just from me, a massive thank you. It's been a real pleasure. We've had loads of questions actually, Daryl, probably even more than last week, which is great. So thanks to everybody for the questions. If any more come in before we close, I'll perhaps just put my hand up and shout them out. But back to you, Daryl. Sam, thank you very much for joining us. It's been fantastic.
I've got a bone to pick with you, K-Dog. I reckon you had a script again tonight.
No, I'm reading the questions off the screen. I have no script. I promise I have no script.
And my final question was going to be that question. But however, I know you've been on an England's Lions tour, Sam. How was that? Was that a good experience and put you in good stead for the future?
Yeah, it was good. I would have liked to have scored more runs. It ended up with like a 70-odd not out, and would have liked to have made a big 100 and playing against the Aussies and doing. We won. England, Navy, Australia A. So at MCG, that was pretty good. It was great. I mean, be able to travel and especially now when you think that you can't get into Australia. So that was a good tour. Just ahead of the Hong Kong trip with Lord Tab.
Good stuff. Well, I just to reiterate what Kieran said, thanks ever so much for joining us tonight. It's been a real blast again, and thank you for giving us your time and speaking to us so frankly. And you come across brilliantly, young man. It's been a joy to talk to you for the last hour and so. So thank you. Please stick with us just to keep us on our toes, just off air when we close down the broadcast in a moment. But just to say again, at the bottom there, the reason we're doing this is trying to raise funds for the Lord's Taverners for disadvantaged and disabled children across the country. Please give generously if you can. That would be much appreciated. Also, links to our Facebook page. Please join our group and share our groups. Join us on Twitter @CricketerMask. and also our YouTube channel. Our YouTube channel, if we can get a few more subscribe to that, that would be nice. If you could do that for us, fantastic. Obviously, next week it will be your chance again to ask the mask, and let's hope I are in something a little bit sort of less casual next week. I feel very casual in this skeleton onesie, K-Dog. I don't know. Just
I quite like the fact that you said you had a bone to pick with me, Darryl. You obviously had that one planned, I think. So just finally, Wes Spearman was the winner this evening. He was the first to guess. That's not surprising, Sam, because he seems to be your number one fan. He actually guessed you really early, but I had to keep you in the mask for a while. So I don't know how he guessed so soon, but well done, Wes. I think you got it in about 5 minutes, so I had to leave it until a bit later. But yeah, again, Sam, from me, thank you so much. Just one thing I will say to people that are watching back, particularly Sakar Tendulkar, who gave us some feedback last week. We will not be announcing on the playback who was on the mask, because apparently a lot of people watch it back. We normally get about 1,500 to 2,000 viewers a week, so we won't be promoting who it was under the mask, but we will promote what was another fantastic evening. Thank you again, Sam. It's been brilliant and really good insight into your career. And well done, Sam, for keeping a straight face with this bizarre individual. I bet you've never been interviewed by a skeleton before, but thank you very much. Back to you, Woodsy, to close.
Oh, it's been a spooky edition, Halloween special of the Mars Cricketer. Join us next week for the next installment. Who have we got planned for you? I can tell you now, another classic. So please join us next week, 7 o'clock, Facebook Live and our YouTube channel. But for now, sleep tight. Don't let the bed bugs bite. See you then.